Welcome back, guys. This is Keto Cricket, aka Tammy Hinkley, and this is part 2 of this week's videos. In the video earlier today, we actually went through how to make some delicious chocolate muffins, and I will be pulling those out in this video, but we're not going to really talk about them too much. I'll probably talk about how good they smell because my house smells amazing. But if you want to know how to make them, go watch that earlier video. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about weight loss. However, I have a full-time job. I am a college student trying to get my bachelor's in nutrition, and a mom and a wife and all the things. So I can't just sit down and chat with you guys. So I am going to be meal prepping the muffins for my family while we chat, but I'm not going to be talking about what I'm doing with the recipe in this particular video. So again, if you have questions about the food I'm making, you can either put them in the comments, but realistically, go back and watch that other video because that'll probably answer all your questions. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So today I wanted to chat with you guys about weight loss, right? So there's different ways to lose weight. That surprises you, right? And I'm not talking necessarily about different methodologies, keto, the cabbage soup. I'm not talking about that. Not right now, anyway. What I'm talking about is you can either lose weight quickly, or you can lose weight medium, or you can lose weight slowly. Now, guess which one is actually the best for your body? You probably know just by some type of innate knowledge that losing weight slowly is actually the best way to lose weight for your body. There is, of course, an exception to that if you are morbidly obese. So generally speaking, if you have more than 50 pounds of weight to lose, then losing weight medium, if you have over 100 pounds to lose, then you probably do want to lose the weight fast. But again, as you get down there and you start to lose the weight, it's going to be important that then you adjust your goals because you can't just keep losing weight fast, right? And we'll kind of talk about how to adjust for that in a second. So that's the kind of the biggest thing I wanted to help everybody understand. Losing weight fast is a lot more fun. And if you do that, there are definitely ways you can do that. So let's say for you, it's just a lot easier to stick to a plan for a month, okay? So you're like, you know what, I am really good at eating on plan for 4 weeks. I can get my calories super low, but then I run out of oomph and I have to eat more calories. So then yeah, maybe you should do a more extreme calorie deficit for 30 days. If you do that, I would, again, if you have less than 50 pounds to lose, I really strongly recommend you do not do that for more than 30 days. And we're going to talk about why shortly. And then take 3 months off at a maintenance level of calories, just your regular intake. So you want to do, if you're doing it really fast, you want to do at least a double the amount of time diet break in your extreme weight loss periods. One more time, again, that does not apply if you have like over 100 pounds to lose or over 50 pounds to lose, okay? Ooh, our muffins from our earlier video are done. That's super exciting. Let's go grab them out of the oven. Well, let's make sure they're ready. We're going to use the toothpick method. I don't know if you guys can see me. It looks really dark from here, but we'll see. That's fine. Ooh. Sometimes I'm not sure because these have chocolate chips in them, so we're going to give them a couple more minutes. Okay. So that's the first step is figure out where you're at with your weight goals. Do you have 100 plus pounds to lose, 50 plus pounds to lose, or do you have less than that? If you have less than that, then you really want to probably look more towards a slower process of doing weight loss. And the reason for that is because when you lose a lot of weight at once, there's a lot of chemical reactions that go within your body as your body eats its fat stores. And one of those things is that it makes your hormones fluctuate in very large swings. So everything from your estrogen, testosterone, ghrelin, leptin, all sorts of different hormones. Your body has tons of them that are impacted by you losing weight. And when you lose a lot of weight very quickly, those hormones very easily get thrown off, and some of those balances in your body get out of whack. So what that does is makes your hair fall out, makes your metabolism, makes you feel really cold. It can make you stop your period if you're a female. If you're a guy, you don't have a period. If I'm having to explain that to you, this is not the video you need to be watching right now. It can lower your libido, so your sex drive. And you know, that's something that you probably don't want to happen, especially if you are a married human. So man or woman, you do not want your sex drive to fall down the drain, right? You want to make sure that your sex drive is where it should be to keep your relationship happy and to keep your spouse happy, right? So those are some of the things that can go wrong with doing super fast weight loss. The other thing that can happen is you end up losing a lot more lean mass. So if you try to lose weight too quickly, instead of your body taking the fat stores, which are a little bit harder to grab, it will begin to take your muscle, because your muscle is easier for it to break down than your fat. So if you're in a deficit very quickly and you drop it way down, your body's more likely going to use lean tissue. You're still going to lose some fat, but just be aware that you're going to lose a higher percentage of lean mass than if you titrate your calories down much slower and work on doing a slower weight loss plan. Okay? So that brings me to kind of where I am at personally. We talked about in the last video how I've been in different places with keto for the past 3 years. At first, I did have about 100 pounds to lose, and I did lose it pretty dang fast. So the first, actually it wouldn't be the first, because the first couple months of doing keto, I didn't actually track calories. It was just changing, getting my body used to the new style of eating, which we're going to talk about towards the end of this video, of the importance of that, because that's another really important thing to take into account when you're trying to lose weight. I don't know why I'm trying to filter this. This is not going to work. All right. Sorry about that. Oop. Muffin check. Let your brain soak in that information. Remember, slow weight loss is good. Fat weight loss is only good if you are very obese. Okay, just kind of keep that mantra in your brain, because those are important factors. And if you think about why that is, think about what happens to your body when you have over 100 pounds to lose, right? I mean, what are some of those things? Diabetes, possibly, higher blood pressure. You could have a higher risk of heart disease, fatty liver disease, you know, all the good stuff. Great stuff, right? So of course we want our bodies to get out of that phase as quickly as possible, right? Because those are all life-threatening scenarios. So yes, when you're in those situations, let's get out of them as quickly as possible without starving yourself. Starving yourself is never the answer, just to be clear. That is not what I'm talking about. I will never ever recommend people to starve themselves. Okay? All right, so where am I at? So when I started, as I said, I didn't count calories, and then I moved to counting calories about 2 months in, and I was at a pretty extremely low deficit. I was at about 1,400 calories. I'm 5'5", and at the time, I probably would have weighed, I would have still weighed over 200 pounds. So I started keto weighing 235, which is actually 30 pounds less than my highest weight. So, as information, okay? So I did the 1,400 calories for, let's see, July, August, September, October, November, for 4 months. Yes, I don't know how to add months without using my fingers. So if that offends you, move on. I don't know what to tell you about that. So anyway, took me for 4 months. I was at that calorie, and then in January I brought my calories up to about 1,700 because I noticed I just needed it. Like, I started being really hungry, and guess what? My hair started falling out, or at least thinning. Not in like big gobs or anything like that. Not anything extreme, but I noticed I wasn't feeling as good, and my body just didn't seem to be doing as well on keto as it had been. I still was doing way better than I was when I weighed 235 pounds, but it wasn't feeling as optimum. So I raised my calories up to about 1,700, and I stuck to about between 1,700 until probably November of 2018. So for another 11 months, I was about in that range. Some higher calorie days, of course, because we had, like we had graduations and we had events and things like that. So it wasn't like every day I ate 1,700 calories, because that's just not true. Then I brought it up to about 2,000 calories. So that brought my calories up because I started really working out a lot harder, or more intensely, I should say, is probably the appropriate word for that. And again, when I did that, I noticed I just needed more calories. Plus, I had some other things going on that necessitated more calories. So I did that for, actually it wasn't November. It would have been August, probably. August, September. Anyway, somewhere around there. By about January, February of 2019, once again, I noticed I just needed more calories again. So once again, I bumped them up and eventually got to notice by experimentation that around 2,328 calories was where my body was the happiest. That is where I didn't gain weight and I didn't lose weight. It's also where I felt good. So that was a really good place for me. You have to find that place on your own. There's no calculator online anywhere that is going to tell you exactly what calories you need. Because remember, hormones like ghrelin and leptin and estrogen and testosterone and all that play a role, and insulin, all play a role in dictating how many calories you need. And your body's makeup is unique to you. So you have to kind of figure that out. You can get online and find a calorie that tells you, based on your gender, age, weight. If you have a body fat percentage idea, that's probably a good thing to put in there. So you can definitely get online and find a baseline, but then you have to adjust up or down depending on what that is. And you also have to be aware that if you have been yo-yo dieting, that your calorie is probably going to be much lower than it should be. And that is another reason why you should actually probably, rather than trying to continue to lose weight, you should probably take a break from your diet plan and work on slowly bringing your calorie levels up to fix your metabolism. Okay? And we're getting to that piece right now. In March of 2020, I had been eating at a higher calorie level since January, a little bit higher than I should. I'd put on some weight, but my focus had really been building muscle. So I knew that I was going to put on some weight. I put on probably about 8 pounds, so I was sitting at about 168 at that point. In March, I took an antibiotic. I got a really bad sinus infection and ended up having to take an antibiotic that totally destroyed my gut health anyway. I didn't have to go potty or anything like that, but it just ruined my satiety factor. I mean, absolutely ruined it. Literally would be like laying in bed at night, trying to go to sleep, waking up at 1 o'clock in the morning with my stomach growling and all the symptoms of physical hunger, like I hadn't eaten all day, after already eating 25 to 2,800 calories. So I ended up eating about 3,000 calories for a while. I gained 7 pounds in 10 days, once from the day I started that round of antibiotics. So it was a 10-day round, right? During those 10 days, I gained 7 pounds. Okay? So that was super awful. And of course, it doesn't just go away right after you finish it, unfortunately. But I knew that there was nothing I could do about it, and this was something that I was just going to have to ride the wave until my gut returned back to normal. So I went ahead, just left it alone, ate to kind of sort of satiety to the point where I knew that I wasn't going to wake up in the middle of the night, but I also knew that I was overeating because I was probably eating pretty much right around 3,000 calories, which is not what I use in a day, pretty regularly. Shockingly, I didn't gain astronomical amount of weight, which I'm still honestly surprised. To truly surprised, I did not just put on 40 pounds. So I let that kind of settle. Then I tried to lose weight a couple of times, not realizing how much, because I wasn't tracking, I wasn't realizing how much I was eating. And so I had tried to go back to tracking and using a calculator. I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to I'm going to cut to 2,000 calories, not realizing that I had been eating 3,000 calories. And my body would freak out. My libido would immediately drop. I would be freezing cold, even though our house is like 70 and outside was 85, 90. I was super cranky and mean, and my family didn't love it. My daughter didn't love it. Nobody loved it. It was just a bad deal all the way around. So let me I forgot the butter. Hold on. Sorry about that. Gotta keep cooking. Cooking. So, anyhow, just dumping there some crumbs in my bowl from the chocolate kind of spilled over a little bit. So, anyway, then I was like, that's not working. So I started almost yo-yoing. I did that actually a couple of times before I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I know better than this. I know that what I need to do is slowly bring my calories down, which I understood. But what I wasn't doing was realizing how much I was eating. So you know what? I'm going to track for 2 weeks. I'm going to figure out what I'm eating right now, and then I can slowly bring my calories down, right? So that is what I did. So that was how I realized I'd been eating about 3,000 calories. Obviously, it changes a little bit from day to day, sometimes more, sometimes less. but that was the average, 3,000 calories. Okay, so at that point I had lost and gained weight a couple times. So I was up to 179, I believe, 177 or 179. And this was around, which is why I don't know exactly, because I was doing a challenge in July where we couldn't weigh ourselves. So it was around the middle of July, and I was like, okay, well, this is what I need to do then. Number one, I need to get my appetite in control. So how do I do that? I do that by slowly lowering my calories. Hold on, I gotta melt my butter. Melt my fat. I'm gonna melt my fat in my body the way I melt my butter, but I can't. So anyway, so I was like, all right, this is what I gotta do. I'm at 3,000 calories. I need to slowly titrate that down, and that's what I did. So I made a plan, and it was pretty severe. I mean, not really severe, but a lot of times when you look at dieting or what's it called? I wrote it in the description. Now, dieting down, they usually recommend like 50 calories a week. At this point, I was in a hurry to get the weight off because I was starting to have some symptoms of things that I had way in 2017 before I did keto, and I did not like that. So I went ahead and I did about 100 calories a week down. And I did that pretty much until I hit about the 2,400 calorie mark. Actually, I did it until I hit about the 2,200 calorie mark. And then I flip-flopped it a little bit. So, and I didn't want to I thought about filming videos for you guys and talking about what I was doing. But honestly, when you know that your calories are at a surplus, it's not like I was going to lose weight during that period of time. So from the middle of July until, you know, basically about now, well, let's see, I have my calendar, I have it in front of me here. So until the beginning of August, the middle of August, I was still eating at a surplus, which means what, guys? That means you're still going to gain weight. So I continued to gain weight. Didn't gain it as fast, but I did still gain some weight. I got all the way back up to 184, which I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so freaking chubby. My clothes didn't fit very good, and I was like, I am not buying new clothes. That is not happening. We need to get this figured out. But I knew it was working. I knew it was just a matter of time. And the other thing I knew that I was very, very thankful for is that my appetite was improving. So my crazy, unsatiable, starving hunger was going down, just like with my calories. So I knew it was working. Every single week, yes, I was still hungry. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that it was just easy and cake. But it went pretty smoothly, especially the first 4 weeks. Those were probably the easier weeks because, again, I was still above my calorie threshold. So those were really easy. Once I got down to where I was actually starting to cut, of course, I did feel hungry. I wasn't like immune to being hungry. It wasn't like that. But it was doable. It wasn't to a point where I was just freaking out and angry and mad. And the great thing is, you know, my libido never dropped. My hair hasn't fallen out. In fact, my hair right now is probably probably about the thickest it's been in a long time as well, honestly. I'm a blonde, so it's not like I normally have super thick hair, but it's definitely a lot thicker than it has been. So I think, I know, especially now that I'm a student and I study these things, you know, doing things slowly really helps a lot of things. It's going to help you eventually reach your goals, as well as help you to get those, you know, keep your hormones in balance while you're reaching your goals instead of just freaking out. I really like one of the things that Matt from Keto Connect always says is he talks about people losing weight and then losing weight today that you've then not being able to lose it in the future. You know, sure, I could have lost weight really fast, but you only have so much weight to lose, right? So whether you lose that weight over a 6-month period of time or a year, in the long run, it's probably going to end up being the same amount of weight versus if you lose it like right now, once you get to the end of that year, right? So it's kind of like, well, which one's going to be healthier? What's the better way to lose it? So at this point, I am down to 174. So I've lost about 10 of those pounds that I put on, which is fantastic. And I'm starting to lose more now that I'm at a higher deficit. My average calories this past week were 2,000 calories. So obviously it's starting to kind of ramp up and build up. And again, yeah, I'm hungrier. So one of the things I do, even though my average for the week is about 2,000 calories, is I like to cycle that a little bit. And I didn't do that until I got down to the lower calorie mark. So once I got below about 2,100 calories, I almost kind of reset it, kind of raised it back up for a minute by adding in refeed days because I just do better mentally. Being able to have a couple days at higher calorie. It also helps me to, you know, get in some foods that I miss during the week or that I don't have the room for, and just give me the ability to be long-term mindset, right? So right now, 2 days a week, I eat at my maintenance level, which is between 2320 and 2370, depending on where I'm at in my cycle, honestly. And most women are like that. Your metabolism does change throughout the month. So that's an interesting thing we can talk about later if you want. So that's kind of where my calories, my maintenance level is. So 2 days a week, I give myself a break and I eat at maintenance. So actually, 5 days a week this past week, I was at 1,820 calories a day. And then yesterday and today, I ate about, well, I haven't eaten all my food today, but I'm about 2,300 to 2,400 calories, somewhere between 2,320 and 2,400. So, and that just helps me get through the week. And it might work also for people that struggle with staying on plan over the weekend. If that's you, then maybe during the week you do cut your calories a little bit more severe so that you can have that little extra on the weekend, and that's okay. As long as you're getting up to that maintenance period where your body should be a couple days a week, your body will severely thank you. Now, obviously, if you have been dieting or at, you know, let's just say like 900 calories or something crazy for a while, again, it's going to take you a while to even get up to that maintenance level. So you've got to do it kind of slow. I would do at most 100 calories a day for the week. So that means 700 extra calories total for the week. However you want to divide that up is up to you. To be the safest, if you really are scared about gaining weight, and you, especially if you've been yo-yo dieting for a really long time and your metabolism is a mess and you've lost a bunch of lean mass and all this stuff, then, you know, maybe stick to about 350, 400 calories a week. increase until you get up to that maintenance level. Now, Tammy from Keto in the Chaos is actually reverse dieting right now. She's doing something similar. So if you want to see how that's done, the reverse dieting, the part where you go up in calories, definitely check out her calories. Check out her videos. She's doing a great job over there. And it's hard, guys. It's not, you know, when you get into that mindset of, okay, I'm going to be done dieting, then you want to eat all the food, right? It's like, why do I still have to track and measure and do all the things? Well, because that's kind of what you have to do. But it's important for your body's health, okay? And of course, again, no matter how you lose weight, and whether you lose fast, medium, or slow, your scale is not going to go straight down. That's unrealistic for you to think that. I don't care. Like, I'll give you an example. So here were my weights from when I won't go through every single one of them because that'd be boring. But basically, it started about 179. I was at 179 for a long time. And then I literally just jumped from 1 week I was 179, the next week I was 184. So I might have been on my period that week. I don't honestly remember. And then it was like 178. Then it was 179. And then it was 177. Like it doesn't go straight down. That's just not how things work. Sorry. Hate to disappoint you, but that's just unrealistic. All right, so I hope I covered everything. I have some notes here. The last thing I wanted to chat about is, let's say you're not on the keto diet or the paleo diet. You're just a normie person off the street that has 100 pounds to lose, and you're like, I have yo-yo dieted, I'm trying to lose the weight, and I can't seem to stick to a plan. In that case, I strongly do not suggest that you track your calories. Not like that, because that's just an added stress. If you've never tracked calories before, that can just really mess with your head, and it can actually cause eating disorders as well. So in that case, normally what I do is say, okay, so the first thing we need to do, if you've just been eating standard American diet your whole life, is let's work on changing some of those habits. So for the first 2 weeks, or maybe even month, depending on you, I would be like, okay, I want you to cut out soda. Now, you don't have to cut out diet soda. You can substitute for diet. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I don't want you drinking any calories as far as like in a soda type form. Then maybe the next month we cut out the rest of sugar, which is actually a pretty big step, right? When you start realizing that there's sugar and ketchup and ranch dressing and mayonnaise, there's sugar in your canned soup that you take every day to work. There's sugar in the frozen meal that you've been eating for dinner every night. That is a big deal, and that takes some getting used to and realizing, oh man, I gotta really adjust the time I have to cook meals, because I obviously need to be preparing more meals. Or if you're really rich, you can buy some meals that are sent to you, like there's Eat Evolve and Green Chef, and there are some different things out there that you can do to help you. But for the most part, most of us can't afford that. So you've got to learn how to cook. And that's a process, right? So I would stay on that goal for probably 2 months. Like, okay, I still don't want you tracking calories. I still don't want you, getting stressed about how much you're eating. I want you stressed about eating real food. cutting out the processed food, right? Getting rid of that sugar. Then after we get used to that, then I'm probably going to focus on, okay, now let's cut out grains. And I do that with any client that I've ever worked with. I cut out their grains. I don't care if I have them on a paleo style diet, a primal diet, a keto diet, some kind of weird version of a paleo or primal diet. I always cut out grains because grains are just awful for you, for anybody. They're just, unless you live in Europe where you have access to whole, actual, real wheat that is the entire head of the wheat. But anyway, that's another, I won't get off on that. The video will be too long. So anyway, those are the key talking points. Titrate your calories down, that's where I'm at now. So I'll keep you guys apprised to my weight loss and to kind of where my calories are at. And when I end, how to know when you've hit the bottom. That's a whole nother video because you can't just keep titrating calories down forever, right? And just be aware that you're borrowing weight loss from the future. If you just lose it all really fast, you're just going to need longer to recover. So again, in the long run, you're going to lose the same amount of weight because you're going to need to take a longer break if you severely cut too hard. And like we talked about before, you're going to lose lean muscle mass, which you're going to have to build back up because we need it. And that's another video as well. Maybe we'll talk about that one next week because that's actually super important, especially as we get older. All right, guys, I got my muffins made. I'm going to throw them in the oven, and I'm going to finish my meal prep. I hope you guys have a fabulous, fabulous weekend, and I want you to do you only better.